guys, welcome back. My name is Joe Ellis, and today we're starting a new segment that my wife likes as a title, Cup of Joe, but I don't know. I have a YouTube channel that I love. It's by a guy named Nick Carver, who's a landscape photographer, and he does a little segment he calls Behind the Glass with the Glass, which I think is very clever. So if you guys have a title for this segment after you watch it, let me know. But this is something that I've been thinking about maybe doing live in the future as well. And it's just some thoughts I'm having, whatever week I'm in or whatever time period it is, that sort of things that are on my mind, things that are important to me or that may have come up in the news or other places. And I thought I would just discuss some of these thoughts. And I had one this week that I was very interested in giving some time to, so I thought maybe I would share that with y'all. So I've got some Scotch, because why not? It's Saturday afternoon. I have a wedding tomorrow, and I'm just sitting around here kind of getting myself all charged up and ready to go. This is one of my favorite Scotches. This is Balvenie 14 Carribean Cask. It's an excellent Scotch, one of my everyday favorites. So I'll have a glass of this with you guys, and we'll kind of discuss what's on my mind. All right, so I feel like, the universe was trying to say something to me over the last week, and it's just something that came up, 2 or 3 times in conversations and in different places and things that I was watching. And I thought, wow, maybe I just need to give this some additional thought. So this really centers around the idea of being a family historian, being a family photographer, which is something that I absolutely love. And I think that is one of the key parts of my life. It's one of my favorite things about being a dad, being a spouse, being a husband and a son. It's one of the things that I love most about photography is taking pictures of my own family. And I know that's true for many, many, many people. But, I don't think oftentimes that, we give it enough energy. And so I thought that I would just try to light a fire under all of us a little bit to kind of up our game in that respect. And it was due to, like I said, these 2 conversations I had this week. Okay, so story number 1. I was watching a video, I think it was Taylor Jackson's channel, where they were interviewing some people at a Sony event or something. It was a bunch of photographers kind of giving photography advice. And the one that really struck me was right at the end, because it was definitely one of my heroes in terms of photography. It's a photojournalist by the name of David Burnett. And David was asked, what his number 1 piece of photography advice was. And he gave a rather profound quote that I think is worth thinking about. And so if you didn't catch that video, here's what he said. Whatever you're doing for work, whatever you're doing for your art, take pictures of your own life. Take pictures of your friends, your family. Be annoying about it if necessary. But I'll tell you this, 30 or 40 years from now, if we're lucky enough to be looking at pictures, the pictures of your life will be more important than anything you ever covered or followed. And so I love that quote, because that's definitely something I try to keep present in my mind as I, race through life with my family. Is just the idea that, yes, the work we do, the projects we create for business or for profit or for whatever it is, or even if it's just your passion of taking pictures of plants and animals or whatever it might be, your landscapes, that no matter what it is that you're passionate about in that sense, I'm going to bet you're also passionate about the people that you love. And so I think it's incumbent, it's important that you take the time and the effort to also photograph that if you possibly can. Because capturing your family history, your family legacy, is such an important and profound thing that you can do for the people that you love. So, my hope for everyone is that who watches this or is already doing this is that they continue to put the effort in, because I think it's such a rewarding thing as we look back over the years to be able to look at our family history and tell the stories of the people that we love. The second thing that happened to me was actually when I was being interviewed by Giulio Chiorio, and we were talking about being family photographers, being dads, and how sometimes we lament the idea that we take hundreds of photos or thousands of photos of our families, but we're rarely ever in the picture. And I just want to say that I want to give everybody a big pass on this as family photographers. Because here's another truth in photography, right? Every image contains both a subject and a photographer. because your unique perspective, the way that you see the world, the way that you approach something, says so much about you that we can say a lot about the photographer just from looking at their photographs. So, I can't give you a pass 100% of the time to never be in a picture, but I do think that looking back through your archive, looking at the way that you approach your family, looking at the way that you photograph your family says a lot about you. So even if you're not in a lot of the pictures, I think it's okay. I just think it's important that you take them anyway. Okay, so that's all to say that I had to think, what would I want to say to people as they think about this, as they ponder these two quotes or these two stories that I had. And the first one is this: if you don't have an everyday carry camera, that I think that's a really important thing, a step that you could take to getting better family pictures. It's a camera you're going to sacrifice to kind of just this one job of being ready at a moment's notice so that you can take actual candid and documentary images of your family. And so for me, that's this EM10 Mark III. And these little Olympus cameras do so many things so right, but for this purpose, they're almost perfect. Because we're not after, ultimate megapixels and technical perfection. We're really after outstanding content. And by being small and light and unobtrusive and fast, they really give us a huge advantage as a documentary family photographer. And so this camera sits like in our kitchen, and it's the one that I will grab at a moment's notice if I see something great going on. And so, the tip, of course, is super simple, and that's just that, of course, you're going to want to keep this camera in an auto mode, like aperture priority with auto white balance and auto ISO, and keep a card in it all the time and keep a battery in it so that you're ready. But the idea is that once you see something great, you've just reduced all of these steps in terms of getting ready to take a picture as you possibly can. You just grab the camera and boom, you're ready to go. Because when it comes to a lot of family photography, moment kind of trumps every other technical and artistic thing that you can do. If your wife is having a profound moment with one of your kids, then that's more important than anything else, what the background is or what compositional tool you're using or how many megapixels it is. If you can just capture the perfect moment, then you've got it, right? And that's not to say that we're not constantly analyzing light and thinking about light and composition as we're looking at things that are happening with our families. But, in light of, or in spite of all of those things, just being able to capture the really best moments that your family has is definitely number one on my list. Another tool that I've been using, I don't have a review of it yet, but I'm certainly checking it out, is this little moment lens. If you guys ever seen these before, these are little purpose-built smartphone lenses that turn the relatively wide-angle lens on your iPhone or whatever into like a 58 millimeter lens, which is like my favorite focal length. So I've been, sort of trying this out as another way of capturing images. I don't tend to like phones as much as cameras for making pictures, just because I love the intention, I love the controls and the ergonomics of a real camera. But obviously, this is something you have in your pocket 100% of the time, so it definitely needs to be considered, a useful tool in the process of making family photos. But this little guy here, like I said, it just gives you that very nice 50 millimeter-ish perspective. And then if you buy a fancy app for your iPhone, you can control manually all of your exposure settings and things like that if you want to. So something I'm looking at and testing out, but for right now, my EM10 Mark III is definitely my trusty favorite. Okay, so getting beyond all of that, as I sat down to think about these things that happened to me this week, I thought, well, what would be fun to make a video about? And it was really about what advice or what ideas I would have for people thinking about making better images of their friends and family. And so here are the 5 sort of things that I came up with. Oh, that's good. Okay, pick a camera that sparks joy for you. What I mean by that is, like, I like new cameras and things like that, but you want to pick one that you really feel great about or you're really excited to use. Because believe it or not, that will help you just take more pictures. Make sure that the camera doesn't burden you to carry it around. And that's another reason why the EM10 Mark III is so amazing, because when it's on my shoulder, I barely notice that it's there. Make sure it's as close to second nature to use and as quick and easy to use as you possibly can make it, which is like the aperture priority and auto ISO stuff. Be quick. be stealth and resist the temptation to make your family recreate or stop what they're doing. I see this a lot of the time with kids when I go to photograph families. Is the first thing that happens when they see a camera is they start to shut down because they think that the whole thing is going to be, this long process of them having to stare at the camera all the time. We really want to fight that, because if we can remove the idea that the camera isn't somehow creating pain in their lives, then it makes it so much easier to capture authentic and real moments of things that happen to your family. So my advice is use your documentary skills here. Use your photojournalistic sense to kind of capture your family as often as you possibly can. If you want to go out on a purpose-made portrait shoot, then that's fine, that's cool. I mean, obviously I do that for a living, so I think that's wonderful. But there's a whole series of images beyond your kids smiling at your camera that is so important to create and to make, because it will say volumes about the kind of people that they are, about their experiences that shape them, and the history of your family. So instead of just having photographs of them smiling at the camera in different t-shirts or whatever, take time to get the pictures of them playing outside or reading books or playing guitar or doing taekwondo or any of the things that kind of become major parts of their lives. Even if it's fleeting, it still can have profound influence on who they become as people, and it is always a part of your family history. Okay, the third thing is moment trumps every other consideration, like I already said. It's just really important that you think about, the relationships between people, and those are some of the most profound things that you can capture. So if you can get those in a photograph because you're fast enough and stealthy enough and you're not asking them to react to the camera, the more of that you can get, the better. The fourth tip I have is have a passion project. Whether it's 360 days of pictures, or it's a blog, or even better, if it's a book or something printed, then that would be amazing. Because you don't want to create this giant backlog of pictures that it's too hard to go through. You want to kind of do this incrementally, not only so you can learn from yourself as you're kind of going throughout the process, but also because you're going to want to create a situation where you don't have anything that impedes you from enjoying the pictures that you've already made. For me, I like to hang things in my house. We have a wall of photographs that we update and things like that. But the idea there is that we kind of want to keep a current record of what's going on, in addition to having all the images from past, prints and things that we've made that really make up an archive of our family. And then the fifth thing that I would say is that I would love it if everybody would make the effort to share as much of what you capture with as many people as possible. Whether it's a school function or a sporting event or whatever, many people that you're going to come in contact with and their kids or whatever it might be do not have the skills and passion that you do to make great images. And so one of the things that you can do in life that makes a big impact on other people is just to go through the process of sharing the pictures with those people. So whether that's your brothers and sisters or parents or friends or other parents that your kids know or things like that, take the time to share those pictures with them, because you wouldn't believe how grateful and important it can be to those people's families. And like I said, you are someone who is special in the sense that you love photography and you're taking the time to be good at it. So that is something that I'm also super passionate about, and I think will make a big impact in your life. So that's what hit me this week, guys. That's what's on my mind. I'm thinking again about doing this as a live show so we can interact about it. So let me know if you guys think that's a good idea. If anybody's got a really killer name for this, I would love to hear it. But that's what's it for now. I have a wedding tomorrow, so hopefully we're going to get some behind the scenes of that coming up. So it'll be interesting to kind of do some behind the scenes at a wedding with you guys, additionally to other photo shoots, so look forward to that. But in the meantime, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you guys in the next one.